Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by Mr. Dele Momodu, a publisher and social commentator. You're welcome to the news at 10.
Good evening.
Now, when Professor Jega was appointed 5 years ago by the former president, he said the appointment was purely on merit because he felt that Professor Jega was a man of integrity. Do you think that he's proved himself to be a man of integrity?
Without any shade of doubt, Professor Atahiru Jega is a perfect gentleman. He's a man who has given us some hope in the future of Nigeria, that it's actually possible to have men of integrity, people who can carry out their duties and responsibilities to the best of their abilities. And I would say kudos to him. I wish him well in his future endeavors. And he has shown that Nigeria is not synonymous with bad people. We actually have very good people like him.
All right, now we've just heard that President Buhari appointed Mrs. Amina Bala Zakari to act as the chairman of INEC. And this is after he had already handed over to Ambassador Mohammed Wali. So what's your reaction to the appointment of a woman to head INEC?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's not just about the gender. It's about the fact that government acted fast to make sure that there was no void in INEC. And I'm sure they must have considered so many factors. And I'm also happy, anyway, that they are gender sensitive because these days everybody talks about gender and all that. And so let's see how things pan out in the next few weeks or so.
All right. Now, during his tenure, we saw the emergence of the permanent voters' cards and the electronic card readers. Do you think these features are going to stay, or do you think we might be seeing the end of them with the exit of Professor Jega?
No, it's impossible for anyone to stop our march towards development. We have to grow with technology because that's the way of the world today, and that is the future. And if there was anything Professor Jega achieved, I believe that the reader's card contributed immensely to that. And we must improve on it. There is no way anyone who is coming now would want to throw that away. You were just talking about the bank verification just now. It shows that at least we can begin to do things electronically, capture data. Most countries nowadays, you don't even need to see an immigration officer. You go there, you put your passport, and that is it. The moment we're able to do that, and they've done it even in smaller countries, in Ghana, and they've been able to witness a lot of improvement in Kenya and other places. So Nigeria, as the giant of Africa, must begin to invest in things that can make us look good in the public eye.
Now, the new chairman or acting chairman is going to be there until August. Looking back on our electoral experience, what do you expect from her?
Well, it's to continue. I won't say to begin now, because there must be continuity. It's for her to continue to put the right things in place. There is so much work to be done. The voters register has always been very chaotic in Nigeria. I believe that they must continue to work on it so that at least we can know the genuine voters. So we stop these ghosts-like business where, I mean, people just bring marriage registers and things and copy names of people who either don't exist in reality. I think that's one aspect that we have to look at. And like I said, technology would help us. Telecoms, we need to improve on information dissemination, talking to the people. There are so many people in the grassroots who may not understand how these things work, and we must find a way to get to them wherever they are.
Yes, I was really wondering whether voters have been sufficiently educated in the past, and what else might need to be done to make sure that we have an enlightened electorate.
Yeah, it's very tough, especially in a place where you have a lot of remote areas in the country. But telephony has helped. I believe now an average Nigerian in practically every local government has access to a mobile phone, and that would help. So we will have to reach them. Of course, radio is very essential because a lot of people in the rural areas listen to radio. But like I said, the telephones would do a lot, because these days you can reach people on their phones by WhatsApp, by Twitter, by Facebook, and you'll be surprised at the number of people who are on social media these days.
All right, thank you very much for coming on the news at 10.
Yes, I thank you for inviting me.
I've been speaking with Mr. Dele Momodu, a publisher and social commentator. Now, it's 1 month since President Muhammadu Buhari was sworn in, and Nigerians have been expressing concerns about the activities of the new government, especially its seeming delay in appointing ministers. The spokesperson of the party, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, briefed journalists in Lagos. He says the APC wants to set the record straight and explain to Nigerians the reason behind the president's actions.
Having ministers, having principal officers will definitely, aid, governance and probably make it run faster. We must also not fail to understand that it's always better to get things right from the beginning. Now, I explained to you 2 factors that are responsible for our inability, for the president's inability so far to move as fast as we would have all would have wished. One is the fact that this is the first real transition Nigeria is witnessing. In other words, transition from the ruling party to the opposition political party. So it would take more time even to consult to make key appointments. Secondly, is that we were handicapped by the government that left when they did not give us the handover notes. I think it was less than 4 days to the handing over that we actually got handover notes from the government. And if you look at the far-reaching recommendations made by Transition Committee, including reducing numbers of ministries and the like, you realize that it's not easy for you now to start nominating ministers without studying, very well the recommendations of the transition, committee.
The People's Democratic Party's post-elections committee, set up to investigate the causes for the party's poor performance during the just concluded general elections, says it has received over 1,000 memos containing individual observations from members across the federation. The chairman of the committee, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, told journalists at a press conference in Abuja that having received those memos, the committee has now constituted teams to visit all geopolitical zones with a view to making further investigations and moving the party forward. The committee has a deadline of July the 10th to deliver on their expectations.
Received over 1,000 memos already, and many are still coming. But we'd like to give people opportunity to present their views. Any member of the PDP, and even those outside PDP that are interested, are now welcome to even send in their views in respect of this matter. But as I said, we have received over 1,000 memos regarding this work we are doing, and we are analyzing them, critically. And by the time we will do our report, we are going to put together all those memos as an extra. So whatever you send to us, I'm sure ultimately you'll find that we'll have time to look at it. So further to this, we're going to send 3 teams to go around the country to find out from our party fed force what went wrong and the way forward. We have these 3 teams. Each 3 teams will deal with 2 geopolitical zones. We'd like to see how finances were managed and what we can do going forward, and also what we did in terms of post-election management. Most importantly, we want to see what we do as a party going forward in order to have the confidence and respect of the people of Nigeria.
The former Minister of Finance, Dr. Okonjo Iweala, has refuted allegations by some governors that she spent $2.1 billion out of the excess crude account without authorization. A statement issued by her media advisor, Mr. Paul Nwabiku, describes the allegation as false, malicious, and totally without foundation. The statement says that no unauthorized expenditure from the excess crude account was made under Dr. Okonjo Iweala's watch in the Finance Ministry. According to the former Finance Minister, decisions on such expenditure were discussed at meetings of the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee attended by finance commissioners from the 36 states. Part of the statement reads, quote, "It is curious that in their desperation to use the esteemed National Economic Council for political and personal vendetta, the persons behind these allegations acted as if the constitutionally recognized Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, a potent expression of Nigeria's fiscal federalism, does not exist." End of quote. The statement adds that the former minister is ready and willing to respond to legitimate inquiries about issues under her purview as finance minister. The National Human Rights Commission has advised the federal government to urgently address issues of displaced persons in the northern part of the country, as more Nigerians are becoming stateless. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Professor Ben Angwe, who spoke at a forum on stateless persons in Abuja, decried the increasing case of statelessness, saying some Nigerians who fled the country as a result of the activities of insurgents have become stateless due to their inability to identify themselves as Nigerians. He advised the government to ensure the proper registration of all births and deaths as means of keeping an adequate record of all Nigerians, both dead and alive.
Treat such persons.
It was a gathering of human rights experts as the National Human Rights Commission convened a meeting to brainstorm on how to address the issues of statelessness, which is said to be on the increase in Nigeria. The Executive Secretary of the Commission set the tone for the event, saying Africa is being confronted with the question of statelessness due to the conflict and terrorism.
The realities of our time present situations that were never envisaged in our country. Just as Nigerians are becoming suicide bombers, very unfortunate circumstances, so are many Nigerians today becoming stateless people.
The representative of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees stressed the need for governments across the globe to work towards addressing the causes of statelessness. She announced measures being taken by the Commission to stem the tide of statelessness.
UNHCR has the mandate, as I told you, to identify, prevent, and reduce statelessness, as well as protect and seek solutions for those persons who already are faced with statelessness. Working with governments and crucial partners, the office is implementing a 10-year campaign to eradicate statelessness between now and 2024.
After a presentation on the concept, causes, and consequences of statelessness, Professor Angwe declares that statelessness is a human rights issue which the Commission will continue to protect at all times.
Yes, there are stateless persons in Nigeria, and in fact, it is becoming very, very obvious that many people, some communities in Nigeria who were stateless, we didn't even know that they were stateless because it was not an issue. And it is with this awareness, the consciousness that is being generated today, that we realize that there are many Nigerians who are stateless, even in Nigeria.
The one-day forum on statelessness is aimed at creating an awareness on the increasing number of stateless persons, as some internally displaced persons have become refugees in other countries, just as some refugees have become stateless persons.
Still ahead on the news at 10, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, extends the deadline for the bank verification number registration by 4 months, from June 30th to October the 31st, 2015. Please join us again